Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at KuCoin, and as per usual, take a peek over at Bitcoin because it's important to understand what's going on with that big dog there, pretty much controlling the market, right? So we had a nice, decent amount of last 12 hours, essentially, where the price came up to a price point of roughly about 49,000. So it kind of got stopped out just a little bit above 49,000, came back down, and it's kind of trending right around 48.5 now at this point. But the key takeaway here is that if we can get this one-day candlestick to close above 47,700, we'll be in much better shape to be effectively making higher highs and potential higher lows. Okay, so that's a good sign to potentially see a reversal here. Of course, still a little early, of course, but I can tell you that it's better than we've seen anything in the past, and we need to kind of celebrate that. Not to say we're completely out of the woods yet, but I do feel like the bottom is in, being right around about 46,000 as a strong support level. So all good stuff there. The only thing we got to make sure to overcome is obviously closing above the 200-day set moving average. The price had closed below that 3 days in a row. It was slightly concerning, but now with that strong candlestick here in the last 24 hours so far, we are looking like we're poised to close above and perhaps continue to progress to the upside. One last thing, I'll go ahead and take a look at the 4 hour. And you can see we're up over the 50-day SIP moving average again. We have done this a couple of times previously with a couple of dead cats. So we just need to understand that there is potential for the price to reverse. But if it does come down and bounce off 48,000, then we're going to be in pretty good shape. I would say a bounce off 48,000 would be the ultimately a best case scenario here. Worst case, we lose that support and we kind of see if we can test 46,000 again as a nice support level. But I feel like we may not have to worry about that for now, based on the way that it's been moving. This is a very healthy continuation, and it's going to need to correct itself soon, which is completely normal. So try not to get worried if the price comes down to 48, but that is ultimately what we're looking for, is a close above 48,000. All right, so just before we jump into KuCoin, just know, not a financial advisor, just love teaching people how to trade. So I hope you can learn a thing or two here today. And obviously, if you do, comment below, let me know. I love to hear that. And if you want more hands-on approach, I have a trading academy that I'm rolling out with here next month. And I actually have a Signal group / trading community as well that we actually learn and grow together. It's an amazing experience. So check that out and link in the description below, of course. And consider joining that if you'd like to get to know me better and obviously the community. Great experience. Once again, let's go ahead and take a look at KuCoin. So we're going to jump onto the one-day chart, right? Kind of see what's going on here. We closed below the 50-day SIP moving average, which isn't usually a good sign, but it's not that bad, right? Because of the fact that we closed above a support level here. In other words, 48 cents proved to be a very strong support. I've mentioned this previously, that should be the lowest point in which we go. We closed yesterday at that point, but today so far, we're looking to come back up here and try to make a strong recovery. So we're up about 6% on the day here with KuCoin, which is good. And ultimately, I think we're looking in much better shape than before, of course, just based on this metric alone. We'll look at smaller time frames to identify, of course, but we are still under the 50-day SIP moving average. Not great, but obviously that's par for the course considering where the price action went recently. Okay, so again, I do feel as if the bottom is in at 48 cents. So hopefully you've been dollar cost averaging and adding to your position, because I think that's ultimately a pretty good value right now. Let's move on to the 4-hour chart. See what's going on here. So we are still essentially making lower highs and lower lows, of course. So you can kind of see that pretty clear as day, right? We got these highs that just keep working their way down, and of course the lows are getting lower as well. Okay. Now, normally that'd be a bad sign if Bitcoin wasn't recovering right now. Okay. So I'd say normally, consider holding off and don't try to add to your positions at this point, because KuCoin doesn't show any sign of recovery. But this last recent push up is very similar to Bitcoin. Just keep in mind, of course, that Bitcoin progressing upwards, as it could and very well should allow KuCoin to continue to excel. Okay. Now, by no stretch of the imagination is KuCoin independent of Bitcoin. We got to recognize that. In fact, it's almost exaggerated version of Bitcoin, where small sell-off from Bitcoin is a large sell-off from KuCoin. We saw that here recently. So we have to be real with that. But the truth be told, 48 cents is essentially the lowest point in which the price was willing to go in this most recent time frame, as well as before. So that kind of leads me to believe that we shouldn't see anything lower than that. Obviously, Bitcoin drops to 42,000. It's going to be a different story. We got to be ready for that. So just be mindful that that is a potential scenario. We can't avoid that. But outside of that, and the fact that Bitcoin is holding pretty strong at about 46,000, now we're at about 48.5, and we're progressing and likely going to be closing above that candlestick. or sorry, that time frame on on the 1 day chart at about 48,000, we're looking to be in pretty good shape here. Okay, so all in all, I like what I see here from KuCoin. Again, it's a little bit early, but it's kind of the dip that you might want to consider investing in, because if we can get this price to close above 51, 52 cents, then we're going to be in a really good shape to see the price continue to progress upwards. Now, we do need to still pass the 50-day simple moving average, of course, so there is that as well. It's worked as a pretty strong resistance level, pushing the price action down. And as per usual, the price, this descending triangle broke to the downside. But they don't always have to break to the downside like forever, right? They don't have to just keep going down. It's normal for it to come down considering it started from above, but now it can possibly break back through that, okay? We just need a little bit more consolidation, about 52 cents, and we'll be okay. Now let's take a look at the 1 hour and see what's going on. We have some positive things here. Okay, so this is ultimately very, very good. Now, these are the three things that I like to look for on the cloud for a safe entry point. In other words, giving us a buy signal. Now, traditionally speaking, once again, you want to make sure you're above a support level in order to do this. We're pretty much right there at a support and resistance level, so that could effectively hold the price action down, but I don't think it will. And here's the reason why. Because first of all, the cloud gives us three different buy signals. First buy signal is the fact that the price is above the cloud. Okay, so significantly important information right there, right? Price is back above the cloud. That's super huge. In other words, the short, you shouldn't open a short position. It'd be kind of stupid because you got a double support levels just below. So this is a support and this is a support now. That's step number one. Step number two is confirming that the price, in other words, the conversion line here, this is a lagging conversion, and then this is a baseline. The conversion line has to be above the baseline, and that's clearly well above the baseline. And the very last thing is the price needs to be free of any, or sorry, the lagging span needs to be free of any price action. Now, granted, the price could just continue sideways, so if the price just goes dead on us for the next 12 hours and we see no growth, then obviously it might be a consideration to maybe dollar cost average, or to change our position essentially, or possibly even close it, right? Because that would be essentially a close your trade position, right? That's kind of a signal there. However, for right now, we're free and clear. So, hypothetically, the price continues to progress like this, then we'll see the price continue, the lagging span continue upwards, be free of the price action, and then we can just keep that position open and ride it to the upside. That's effectively how the Ichimoku cloud works. So you just want to kind of pay attention to those three things. And again, it works very well on the 1 hour chart. It's kind of synonymous with the 4 hour MACD, the moving average convergence divergence, which, by the way, we didn't really look at. Let's see if there's any potential convergence here. We did get a recent MACD convergence that was last night, right when Bitcoin was starting to change its momentum. So we've got kind of what I refer to as a double rainbow with the MACD convergence and the Ichimoku cloud breakthrough. So those are really, really good signs here. That concurrent with the fact that we bounced off 48 cents, a previous support level based on the lowest point in which the price would go in the last 2 or 3 weeks, leads me to believe we're going to see a continuation to the upside. Now, will KuCoin break free of Bitcoin? Possibly not. But I do think that Bitcoin gaining more confidence, there's more potential for KuCoin to establish itself again. That makes any sense. But for right now, we got to understand that most of the market is still moving very synonymous with Bitcoin, with that fear, uncertainty, and doubt being very high. Once that subsides, we can kind of get more neutral fear, if you will, where people are less concerned. Then the altcoins start to take off and they start acting more, independent, if you will. Okay, so those are just things to pay attention to. But for right now, KuCoin is in as good a shape as it can be. We have a lot of good trade signals here, kind of telling us that it's safe to take entry. You just got to be aware of the fact that Bitcoin is still controlling everything. If Bitcoin drops to 46, 44, 42,000 over the weekend, the remainder of this week, whatever the case is, if that happens, KuCoin will suffer. So don't be surprised if that occurs. Just note that we are seeing a lot of good signals here from KuCoin. So I'm confidently going to be able to, consider a position here with Crow right now based on this sentiment alone. Okay, so I hope that works well for you, and thank you so much for joining me here. Obviously, if you're not part of my trading community, go ahead and consider joining. Take a look at that link in the description below, and comment below if you haven't already done so. Greatly appreciate your feedback. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.